Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of LostinTranslationmon. This time we're covering Digimon Ghost Game episode 31, Killer Blade. I'm May, and I'm sort of joined by Quinn and Chloe. As I mentioned in last week's podcast, I have planned power outages today, so I just thought it'd be easier for everyone involved if we just record a little bit later and separately. So I will be doing the usual intro, and then followed by Quinn, Chloe, quick comments, and then it'll be back over to me. So before we get into it, just a quick synopsis of this week's episode. So a sword is being passed around from Digimon to Digimon, and it's killing humans to become sharper. Angoramon gets the sword, but tries to fight the urge to kill. Musyamon reveals himself after saying that Gammon has something special, and they end up fighting, and then another Digimon called Zubamon, who is the 20th anniversary Digimon from a few years back now, turns itself into a sword. Simbar Angoramon uses that sword, cuts through Musyamon's sword, and Musyamon just lets all the humans go back who are absorbed in the sword or something, I don't know. And Zubamon and Musyamon are kind of friends that have been fighting for a long time, and that's why Zubamon has a scar or something. And then Black Tailmon rocks up with a reply from Hero's dad, but it's literally like IDK lol, like that's his response. And that's the episode. So now we'll go over to Quinn and Chloe for Quinn, Chloe quick comments.
This was Ghost Game episode. Hi, I'm Chloe.
It's been a minute since we haven't recorded together.
Yeah.
So we are talking this week about...
No, you're not going to say hi, okay.
Episode 31?
Yeah, episode 31.
Hi, I'm Quinn.
Okay. Episode 31, Killer Blade. Okay, So Eric just did the synopsis or something. What are our highlights? My first
the blade
one...
itself looked pretty cool.
It was pretty alright, yeah. My first highlight is aimed at Angoramon being a complete herb after reading the book and, quoting it and being like, it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's okay, Angoramon.
I appreciated the bookend, and
I've also been rereading Bleach, I get it.
There's that. And it was some personality trait, which we don't get, I think, enough of from the Digimon.
Yeah, especially from Angoramon. Angoramon's always the I will protect Ruli and then weird stoic-ish sayings at the end of each episode. But this one was actually like, oh yeah, Angoramon actually has, interests and tastes.
Yep. Not good ones, but he has them.
Yep. Oh yeah, if he's reading anything like Bleach, he does not have good taste, and I know that firsthand. I also do not have good taste. My next highlight was that the sounds of the souls getting sucked into the sword is the exact same sound as the third impact sounds.
Ding!
Yep, there's the Ava counter. Y'all knew it was going to happen.
Yep.
There were a few different points, though, that kind of reminded me of Ava, especially when we were, when Ruli was trying to figure out where Angoramon was.
That's fair.
Yeah. It just kind of gave me like Ray vibes, Just the silent, not saying anything, just kind of looking out the window. I don't know.
So with the bookend quote, did the book travel through time during end of Ghost Game?
What?
It's okay. I'm talking about the bookend Ray because we did it's okay.
Oh, I see. Oh.
Yep. Wow. An Ava joke that was too obscure for you.
No, I just didn't realize it was an Ava joke for a little bit. Go ahead.
This was really extra, but I was really kind of into most of the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I also liked most of it.
Angoramon trying to fight back against the sword and ultimately failing.
Yeah.
Which was neat.
It was. And I also liked that, when Angoramon picked up the transformed Unit 2 Mon as a sword, and, he then did the quote from the book again. I'm like, what a herb. I love him.
Yep. Definitely let loose with the monomolecular cutter.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty great. But that basically, all of my lowlights are just kind of, my highlights are variations on the ones we've
This was
said.
Ava, and Ava is good.
Yeah, and also Angoramon getting a personality a little bit.
Yeah.
And there were some nice shots this episode.
Yeah, the camera work was pretty good. I'm a sucker for some Dutch angles.
Yep.
I could have used it a little more out of Ruri, but
Oh,
otherwise,
yeah.
by and large, a good episode.
Yep. Are we ready to move into lowlights then?
Yeah.
All right. Let's light it lowly. So my first lowlight was that, and I think I even had the same criticism either last week or the week before that. I don't remember which. But it's like, oh, hey, yeah, here's another Digimon that's just kind of been, skulking about from rooftops, keeping an eye on the big bad going on a rampage and not doing anything about it until, swooping in to save the day at the end. And I was like, wow, so many people have died because you haven't taken action until just now.
Yeah, technically no one died this episode because the writers were cowards, but...
Well, I mean, they always... they don't always undie, but they often undie, and I was expecting it. I was hoping that it wouldn't happen, but I was expecting it. But either way, that doesn't change the fact that, my dude just stood there and watched people get killed because, he wasn't quite ready to act yet.
For kinda no reason.
Yeah, maybe because he's not able to move himself in sword form, so he needed someone else to be able to...
Yeah, there are a number of issues with it. Just... Why are you? What is your history? You sort of imply you have one, but I don't care about it.
Exactly, you do nothing to make me care about it. I hear that y'all have fought and apparently gave you a scar, and...
Yeah, this scar that I don't... which scar?
Yeah, I mean, the one over the eye, I assume, but still.
But he's got one on the other side. I think it's just part of the...
I mean, it could be that he scarred both eyes. I don't know. It was
Maybe.
just, it's exactly, like, they should have done a better job with that part. You're extremely correct.
Jared Leto is no longer available to tell us how he got those scars.
What?
And then we moved on.
You mean Heath Ledger?
Don't worry about it. Yes, damn it.
Oh.
I am very good at names.
That was in poor taste, too. Come on. Let's see. My next lowlight was that I was pretty let down that we didn't get an Angoramon Evo. It kind of seemed like that's what the episode was building up to. And we even got the, super inspiring, everything's about to be okay music right before Angoramon evolved. And then he just kind of stayed as Simba Angoramon.
Mm-hmm. If nothing else, based on previous seasons, I would have almost expected a permanent power-up to the form that Angoramon was in, of just, oh yeah, and now that form just has a cool sword, but that doesn't really work when the sword is an independent entity.
Unless they decided to team up or something.
Except for that one time that it did.
And this time where one of the, I don't remember its names because it's such a weird Digimon, but one Digimon is a sword growing out of another Digimon's butt.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that part. That sure was a thing.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I said it the first episode that they were here too.
With his own butt.
Yeah. What is this series? So anyway, it wouldn't have been impossible for them to just kind of team up, although I guess it would be kind of okay, why do I care? And, it comes back to, why do I care about that other Digimon that showed up, Unit 2mon or Unit 20mon, I guess, if you want to be technical about what is said on the horn.
It would help so much if these episodes were 28 minutes instead of 22.
Yeah, yep. It was just another case of it felt like a pretty good build-up, pretty good intro, pretty good first couple acts, and then the last act just kind of had to resolve too many things too quickly and just kind of was like, okay, and then everything was okay.
Yeah, we broke the cursed sword, which had a personality, which was cool, but also didn't ever matter.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. So here's my last lowlight, aside from what was that ending. But the other thing is that, okay, so it's kind of established that both the Digimon that wielded the sword and the cursed personality within the sword or whatever are both pretty huge assholes, right? So... then cursed sword gets broken, and then all of a sudden, asshole Digimon is just like, I'll be a good boy now and surrender, and as a treat, I guess I'll go back to the digital world, I guess was the implication, it being let off by the Black Tailmon or whatever, with basically no consequences. Yeah, I killed all those people, but it's okay, they unkilled.
Yeah, the sword did not make you do it, although admittedly,
It seemed like
I
it
guess they fused
exacerbated
with
his
the
already
sword
bad
somehow.
personality.
I'm also less than clear on, was the sword from the digital world? Was the sword, are actual cursed swords a thing?
I think so. My impression was that it was already a cursed sword over in the digital world, and then they
Maybe?
just kind of came over here and somehow accidentally got fused for reasons, because that is just something that will only happen to this one Digimon.
I'm just saying, like, we have introduced curses. We've got magic happening in a universe that otherwise pretty much has always just gone, Digimon did it.
Oh, is that the case? Okay.
There are a few Digimon, like Wizardmon, who have some minor magic stuff, but in general, yeah, not a lot of that, which is... This will never matter again, because
Yeah.
the answer is someone probably took an existing storyline and made it about Digimon. I don't recognize this particular one, but, sure seems derivative.
Yeah, I believe it. And there was something else that you had mentioned earlier when we were talking, and I don't remember what it was, but it was a good point.
See, this is why I told you we shouldn't talk until we were on the episode.
Oh, well, you should have written it down. I sent you my notes.
Well, then I guess we're both equally at fault.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I guess.
I say definitely not accurately.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, I'm sure it'll come up again at some point, and we can add that in as another low light after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Just a weird episode. Interesting ideas that hung together mostly well, but
Yeah.
definitely wasn't a particularly satisfying conclusion.
Yeah. I was, well, this is more of a miscellaneous thought than a low light, so I'll save it for now. Okay, so are we ready to move on to favorite characters for now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, who was your favorite character, Quinn?
Angoromon, who got to have a personality and be just kind of an adorable little herb.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm also going to go for Angoromon, although it was kind of a hard call between Angoromon and, like, Abstract Concept. Not that I, hated this episode,
Yeah.
but I felt like it could have been a lot better, you know? I don't know, it's...
Yeah,
another
round of editing might have been a good idea.
Yeah. I honestly just kind of wish that we hadn't had... Oh, that's what I was going to say, and it's not really a low light, it's more of a miscellaneous thought in retrospect. But I wish that we hadn't, had, hey, you finally got enough souls to come out of the sword. I wish it was just a cursed sword and not a Digimon living in a cursed sword.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. Just I liked the idea of the cursed sword, and then just we have to have Angoromon
Grapple with
overcome
that.
a thing internally and show inner strength, and not just kind of just lose, and then lose again, and then win because a rando showed up to help.
Yeah, literally.
But I did appreciate that Hero didn't get to save the day.
What did Hero do? Hero did something, right? I remember we got Chaos
Gamamon tried to do the fight.
Oh, and then got
briefly fought
him freed.
against.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then reverted back in the process.
Right. Because got all energy sapped.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at any rate, yeah, I think I'm also going to say that my favorite character was Angoromon. He was a little herb, and it was cute, and I enjoyed seeing Gamamon with a personality besides says weird things at the end of the episode and protects Ruli.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would you rate this episode?
I'm gonna give it a 4. I enjoyed large parts of it, but I, definitely criticize some of the weaker areas.
Yeah. I went with a 3.5 in the end for very much the same reasons. I liked the first part of the episode. I don't think I liked it as much as I liked, the last episode, for example. So that's, I think, why I'm going for a 3.5 instead of a 4. It's just, it had a decent lead up, but disappointing end, at least in my opinion. And so, do you know what your ranking is, Quinn?
Yeah, I'm gonna put mine in 13th place. Immediately under Kamaitachi and above Warped Time. Just kind of right in the middle of my 4s.
Interesting. Okay. I am putting it in 21st place, which is after Kamaitachi, actually, as well, but above Monster Pollen.
Well, fair enough.
Wait, is that 21st or 22nd place? Sorry, that should be, 21st place. Sorry, in between Bird and Kamaidachi.
Gotcha.
Yeet. Miscellaneous thoughts time? Did
Sure.
you have them?
I am one of those.
Hit me with it.
No, it's okay. I was making a joke. Yeah, I don't have a lot of miscellaneous thoughts.
Okay. I do. Well, I have two, which is to say, I was actually a little let down, to be honest, that it seems like Hiro's dad is still seemingly alive, but I'm gonna withhold final judgment as to whether or not he's still alive until we, I don't know. I'm not sure what it would take to convince me that he's still alive at this point.
A scrawled note definitely isn't great evidence.
Yeah, I'm half
Especially
tempted to
when
say, I will withhold final judgment.
Dated, it doesn't reference anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and I'm just okay, so I'm half tempted to just be I'm going to withhold final judgment until I see him bleed real blood on screen, which is to say that we're probably unlikely to ever see anything that will disprove to me that he's dead. Because I don't think we're going to show Dad bleed on screen.
No, although we will presumably eventually get to the digital world and see him at
we'll
which
probably
point
see him, and
we'll
he might even
probably
get
find out
scuffed
one way or
up,
another.
but I doubt we'll see him bleed.
Oh, yeah. No, but I imagine at that point it'll be pretty clear whether he's real or not, or perhaps some sort of memory of himself contained within the digital world, or
Nah, he's still
half
going to be...
himself, half Gestalt entity with a Digimon.
Abmon spoilers,
Cool.
he's going to be What's-His-Bucket, who I'm totally blanking on.
Oh, yeah.
That's my hope, at least.
Haru's boyfriend.
Not Haru. Why am I totally blanking on his name? It doesn't matter, I guess.
No, the people know who
Offmon's
you mean.
partner.
Yeah.
The real ones know. My other miscellaneous thought was I kind of accidentally said it during the favorite characters, but I know that it kind of runs counter to the whole premise of the show, which is that all of these paranormal phenomena are actually just the doings of Digimon. But I do, I really wish that it had just been cursed sword that Digimon have to deal with, rather than cursed sword that is also a Digimon because reasons.
Yeah, and I'm way more interested in how bad guy Mon and the sword encountered each other and fused, and the backstory of this character that we got none of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would have been nice if we
shame.
just did there's no Digimon behind this one. It's just real weird, sort of like the Scooby-Doo Zombie Island thing. There is no mask; they're just zombies.
Yeah.
There is no Digimon. It's just cursed or something. And
There
I think
is
it'd be
no
interesting.
Debbie. There is only Zool.
Sure, yeah. Do you have any thoughts? Or sorry, do you have any other miscellaneous thoughts first?
I do not.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts about the series thus far?
Please let Hero's dad be dead and make this series about, confronting your own mortality. That'd be neat.
That's spooky ghosts on multiple levels. It's scary and it's ghosts.
Mm-hmm. And you'd have a ghost of your dad.
Exactly. I think that would be cool. I didn't really have much to say other than just, this episode was fine. I hope we get more like we had last week, because I'm every time I'm just, 1, give me Ava, and 2, give me the horror of real life.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little bit of Ava this time, but I could have used a bit more horror of real life. Or at least at the very least, I certainly wouldn't have minded more.
Gulus next week. It definitely looks like Gamamon's going to be having a bad time.
Yeah, Gamamon was doing the whole big teeth thing that often precedes a Gulus.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, let's just segue on into the next time on. The next episode is entitled Who Are You? Predictions, thoughts?
So I definitely want to see where it's going.
Yeah.
I'm into Gamamon getting depression and learning about a thing. I'm with the rain motif. I'm wondering if we'll finally circle back to that time your good buddy went to a farm upstate.
Here's hoping. Yeah, I'm curious to see if we're going to be doing the thing, or if it's just going to be like a, hey, whoa, you two look alike. Which one of you is the real one?
Ooh, doppelganger of Neymon.
Of which one? Of who?
Or was it Bokomon?
Yeah,
the one who went
that
to
would be
farm
neat.
upstate. And I feel like that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring him back, and Hero's gonna have to be like, no, buddy, that's not your friend.
Well, so
oof,
I don't
this is
know.
awkward.
Okay. It taking the form of Bokomon or whatever, that got me thinking, because my next thing for the prediction was that I'm interested to see if that's actually Gamamon out sulking in the rain, or if it might be the doppelganger Digimon, but like it also inherited Gamamon's memories as well as appearance, and then the episode kind of revolves around like, okay, so are these memories and emotions that you more or less stole still yours, or stuff like that. And especially if they have it take on the form of Bokomon, maybe that's just how they will unkill Bokomon, is that it'll actually be this other doppelganger, but like still has the soul of Bokomon or whatever. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
So yeah, I'm very interested to see where the next one goes. I hope because I am a character of myself that will go the more Ava route of having it be a little bit more, psychological and analytical, philosophical about the nature of lived experience.
Maybe Gamamon can turn into Tang.
That would be cool. Yeah. Gulus doesn't work and instead just turns into Fanta.
Mm-hmm. It all returns to nothing.
Shinka. LCL. I think that covers everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to get in the joke that that Zubamon was just Deus Ex Machimon.
Oh, what was the other thing that you said that I was like, please make that joke? Let me see if I can find it.
So it's a visual joke which doesn't work, but there's a screen cap I'll send on to air for the show notes. Damn it, where did it go?
Oh yeah, I want to cut humans and sharpen my cursed blade.
Yep. And I'm all out of cursed blades.
I thought that was very funny.
Especially when he runs out of cursed blades.
Yeah. And then he just becomes a good guy who doesn't even seem all that particularly invested in cutting humans anymore. So, I guess it was all just talk.
Yeah, well, swords don't kill people. Spirits possessing swords kill people.
Well, except I think in this case it was just the sword kills people, and as soon as the sword was broken,
swords just kill people.
Yeah, which I mean, is true. That's what they're made for. Anyway, I think that is basically all from us then. Yeah, unless you've got any other things you want to add in.
Nope, don't think so.
Perf. All right. Well, in that case, I guess we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
And now back to me. We'll go over and discuss the episode Just Me on My Very Lonesome. So, highlights. It's nice to see an anniversary Digimon. This episode kind of had great timing in terms of it coming out on the franchise's 25th anniversary. It is funny that it wasn't planned to be that, because as one would know, there was a hiatus when Toei was hacked. So this episode would have been out like a month or two ago, and not out on the anniversary. So that seems really perfectly timed, unless there's an even better anniversary episode that actually has Espimon, who is the 25th anniversary Digimon. And I can kind of assume that Espimon will be in Ghost Game, judging by the dim card for Espimon having the Ghost Game logo. But again, that comes out in August. But in any case, so that was really nice to see. It was nice to see Zubamon, especially on such a great unplanned, coincidental day, for it to be coming out on the anniversary. So that's cool. And we also have Angoramon having a character and being excited over a book that he read. That's super nice. I like that we actually give him a character in this series. I've mentioned before that Digimon does have a problem of not necessarily giving the partner Digimon personalities. They're more just extensions of their human partner. So that was really nice to see, and I was a fan of that. However, that's about as far as my highlights go, though I don't really have that many lowlights. My only main lowlight is the fact that this episode honestly felt like it was missing some things. It could have maybe not just necessarily been an evolution episode, but at least something that hinted at some evolution or did some foreshadowing. As Lamortmon, who is Simbara and Goramon's perfect level, does have blade-based attacks, so perhaps when he's fighting, and by he I mean Simbara and Goramon, perhaps when he's fighting with Zubamon as a sword, perhaps we get some silhouettes or shadows of Lamortmon in the same way that we had for Gulas Gamamon in very early on in the series, where we just had a silhouette of Gulas Gamamon appear, or even in Adventure Colon, so Adventure 2020, the reboot of Adventure, there would be an episode between, like, the evolutions, like, just before, we'd have, like, the silhouette of that next Digimon appear as, like, a boosted attack, I guess. That was always pretty cool. I did like that, and it sort of added an extra episode between evolutions, and it just made it feel like there was some growth between those focused episodes. But no, we didn't get anything like that. I feel like that could be because it's the Ghost Game problem, which is how the series has 20-minute long episodes and has to wrap up that episode in 20 minutes. They have to find a monster of the week, they have to investigate into it, they have to develop why we care about what the monster of the week does, what Digimon is, what is it doing, who's the focus character, what kind of story elements are in that episode, something that's going to happen and take place during that episode. And they also have to wrap it up in the same 20 minutes, which sometimes it's fine. A lot of seasons of Digimon do have episodes that are self-contained or easily wrapped up in the one episode. Usually it's just a fight, usually it's just a Digimon showing up and saying, haha, I'm evil, and then they fight it and win, I guess. But this series has, because it's episodic, has a lot more episodes that just are completely self-contained and are solved in the same 20-minute time frame. So if this episode did have an extra 5 to 10 minutes, I could imagine that they might have put some foreshadowing for Lamortmon, but it didn't happen, and it just felt lackluster. It felt like this episode was missing something. So I know that's a bit of a nitpick, but it kind of hurt my enjoyment of this episode. I felt like it just kind of happened, and it was an okay episode. It was still okay. I'm not saying, it's a terrible episode. It is probably the worst episode in the series for me, but that still doesn't mean it was bad. I'm enjoying Ghost Game overall. I still am enjoying Ghost Game, but it's just, I guess one episode had to be bad, right? Or at least an episode does have to be at the bottom of the list, and I guess it's this one. So my favourite character, I'm agreeing with Quinn and Chloe. Angoramon was great in this episode, so I guess we'll all just agree with that. However, my rating was surprisingly lower than everyone else's. I gave it a 2 out of 5. As I said, I'm putting this in last place. It wasn't the worst episode of Digimon overall, but for me it's the worst episode of Digimon Ghost Game. It honestly felt like it was missing just some things. It didn't feel finished. And also Zubamon being face on and like completely the profile of it being just front on, it just looked really weird, and I couldn't get past that as soon as Zubamon showed up. It just didn't look right. I don't know why his face looks squished. It's weird, and I guess that's also, a sort of miscellaneous thought of, hey, it was great seeing Zubamon, but why does he look like that, though? And yeah, so as mentioned, I'm putting it in last place, but the overall points being 9.5 out of 15 means it's a unique number, and that means it can pop in easily at 23rd place in our overall rankings. And those are basically my thoughts for this episode, so let's go on to Postmon Pat. So first up we have Lazy Croconaw, who says that, and this is of course about episode 30, they say that episode 30 was pretty good. They hope the girl of the episode comes back in some shape or form. Also, they wonder who asked Jellymon for so much trash. Not that it's going to be revealed, but it's fun to think of. And yeah, I do like the Jellymon kind of having her own business and doing her own things that aren't relevant to the plot, but she just goes off and has a life. In this episode, and I guess this is something I also kind of liked, when Ruli is saying, hey, I'm worried about Angoramon, he usually comes back, he didn't come back last night. And Hero's like, what if he's camping? And then Kyoshiro and Jellymon say how Jellymon sometimes doesn't come back for days on end. So I do like that. I do like that she has a life outside of being a main character. Then they say that next episode, so today's episode, seems pretty interesting because of the possessing sword thing. Wonder how they will solve it, and if Angoramon will attack Ruli at some point. He kind of almost does, but he's fighting the urge, I guess. But it is cool. The possessing sword thing is cool. Like, it is a cool aspect, but that was it for me. I wish it was more. Next, we have Gold Stars, who says they really enjoyed episode 30 a lot, but they agree that the ending felt awkward. The villain should have been outright defeated, and it feels like Keanu didn't really face any consequences for any of the things that she did. they don't think the Digimon were just using her as an actual punishment because she was using them in the same way. And then they say that maybe that our interpretation of the teacher is a misread. They established pretty early in the episode that Kiyono is a picky person about what she does and who she interacts with, so it came across to me like the new homeroom teacher was just a type who was really overly enthusiastic and tried too hard to relate to students. He's not the first person who turns into a doll. That was her dad, who just wanted to talk with her, so to them at least it didn't come off like she never really felt needed much to turn other people to... she didn't need any other reason other than they bothered them. And yet that is fair, that is a possibility, that is what happened there, but it does add a level of, I guess, ick and a level of, like, depth if there's something that's more there, but I don't think we would ever get an answer because it is a kid show, and if they can't go too dark. Next, we have Narumi, who says they like this episode because it was different, focusing in a character that isn't the main ones. Yeah, I would totally agree. And they were given Tim Burton vibes, but more creepy because of the black eyes, and yeah, totally get that. They also said their main lowlights were that the ending felt rushed. And yeah, I absolutely agree. I feel like a lot of Ghost Game episodes do have rushed feeling endings. And then they say that they would have rather seen everyone turn into dolls and let Monzaemon save the day by himself. They don't understand how Monzaemon broke into the digital field. Maybe that's just because Digimon can, I don't know. Then lastly, we have Samhain, who says that they were hoping that the girl would become like the Digimon Emperor, and Yellow Monzaemon was her real partner. Yeah, that would have been cool. Monzaemon turned them good at the end with such lazy writing. A lot of these episodes just wrap up randomly because they run out of time on the episode. They have great ideas at the start of each episode, but then usually drop the ball each time ruining the ending. And yeah, that's what I call the Ghost Game problem. At least with Monzaemon turning them good, that is something that Monzaemon can do. We have seen it, but maybe not to the extent that it was in this episode. But still, it does have the Ghost Game problem, and I think that even when the series eventually ends, it might be my favourite series of Digimon, but it will still always have the Ghost Game problem of every episode being 20 minutes and needs to be resolved in 20 minutes, and that's not a lot of time. So that sort of transitions into my thoughts about the series so far, which, despite me not liking this episode, I still think that this series can be my favourite series of Digimon once it finishes. It is episodes like these that make me a little bit pessimistic, but I'm still enjoying Ghost Game, and say the thing, if this is as worse as it gets, it's going to be okay. And I know whenever I say that, I kind of curse it, so I'm really sorry if I've just cursed the rest of Ghost Game for everyone. My bad, I guess. However, and this also transitioning to predictions for the next episode, episode 32 looks like my least favourite trope in all of Digimon, and it's a story and a storyboard that happens every series, and it is Digimon and human partner have a disagreement. I'm really worried that it's going to be that. I know that it is there's an imposter Gamamon, but I still think there's going to be some conflict there. I'm really worried because my least favourite episode of every series of Digimon is the episode that goes along the lines of, oh, and then the human and the Digimon had a really, really superficial fight, and everyone is bad. It's like the subreddit, Am I the Asshole? The answer is yes, you both are, in every case when we go through the that storyboard of the human and the Digimon are fighting. I really hope it's not the case, but I am worried. But yeah, I guess I'll have to stay tuned for that then. Alright everyone, so time for me to wrap it up. So thanks to Quinn and Chloe for joining me, even if it is separately. And you can join us next time for episode 32, Who Are You? Which I'm pretty sure is a Vine at some point. Anyway, link dumps in description, so is our Redbubble, and so are ways you can contact us and stay updated, like sending us spam to LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or commenting on this episode on our website, which is LostinTranslationmon.com, or on this episode on YouTube. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can follow us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube. I'm at Digimon_hero on TikTok, and I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/translationmon. You can also chat with us on the Lost in Translation Mon Discord server, And if you enjoy the podcast, please consider leaving us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also donate to our Patreon, which links in the description, from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to the Patreon-only areas of our Discord server, but there are higher levels with more rewards, such as unedited and early episodes and more, so check that out. And of course, thank you to our current supporters on Patreon, Stephen Reeves, who is Wild64 on Archive Our Own, Katawashi, Chisai, who you can follow on Twitter at Chisai236, Neobu, who says you should follow Chisai on Twitter at Chisai236, Lismet, who is Lekmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Sam, Emery from Gone While Hunting, a Hunter Rewatch podcast, Magnus, Lucas, Jason105, Patrick, Jason, Grey Tanuki, Shelby, Digital Hazard, who is on Twitch at The Digital Hazard, Dedicated Gazi, Alemist Michael, and Teropimon. And you can also make a donation on PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Airdramon. And you can also donate to me on my Ko-fi account, ko-fi.com/Airdra. And that's it for this week. So thanks for listening, and of course, we'll see you on the next one. Bye!